100% tariffs on branded drugs kick in this week, but how hard will they affect the industry? This is Sectors Up Close, and we're talking pharmaceuticals. President Trump has announced a 100% tariff on foreign-made branded drugs that is set to take effect on October the 1st, although it's not yet clear whether this will be added on to country-specific tariffs or if existing trade agreements with the EU or UK mean those drug makers will be exempted. Large pharmaceutical companies have anyway been trading at a discount to the wider S&P, but is there an advantage for American firms if their foreign rivals face tariffs? Well, Nathan Moser is a senior portfolio manager at Impax Asset Management. Nathan, how much could this shake up the market?
Well, it's definitely gotten investors to be a bit concerned. That said, I think tariffs have been widely expected. So these Section 232 tariffs, as you mentioned, are 100% at the headline level. In reality, due to carve-outs, company or country-specific trade deals, I don't think many drugs will be impacted by that 100% level. I think it's much more of a PR-related number as opposed to an actual.
Is there a potential advantage, though, for US-based drug makers here if European rivals face tariffs?
I think it could be. Obviously, there'd be a price differential. That said, I think many of the global or foreign drug makers will likely look to establish a presence in the United States from a manufacturing standpoint to avoid the 100% headline figure.
Yes, there is an exemption apparently to this tariff for foreign drug makers who are manufacturing in the US. But have there yet been investments that show that is starting to happen in any significant way?
Well, we're seeing some of those investments, and I think it's a little bit unclear what the president and his administration are looking for. So one of the questions that we have as investors is, has the manufacturing, must that be under construction at this point? Or is that something of a negotiation if there are plans to construct facilities in the United States? It's my personal view that many of these tariffs are used as an opening salvo, if you will, or an opening of a negotiation. So again, the bark may be worse than the bite when it comes to the overall impact to the industry.
President Trump has also repeatedly said he wants drug companies to charge prices in the US that are closer to those in Europe, when national health systems tend to pay for drugs and prices are much lower. Are there any signs drug makers will cut American prices?
So right now, we're expecting over the coming days to be more news with respect to drug pricing. And so we will see what the strategies of the pharmaceutical industry are in the United States. I think, again, the industry is going to prefer to stay out of the attention of the administration. There are some options that they have. They can lower prices abroad so that differential is not that significant. There's some legal or regulatory questions around the administration's ability to mandate lower prices. So again, from the position of an investor, you have to understand, while the headlines may read negatively, what's already discounted in the shares. And on that point, we view the industry as quite attractive, just given the 35% discount to the overall S&P 500. So a lot of bad news has been priced in.
Drug makers do, though, generally make a majority of their profits in the US. So could this controversy around pricing hit their profit margins and indeed the amount they're able to invest in the research of new drugs?
It could. And again, that's the more draconian impact. I think there's some flexibility that they have to cut spending where they wouldn't have to impair their ability to innovate. But again, that's the risk to the overall industry, and it's the risk to the healthcare as a whole with thinking about patients first. So, when I look at the broad healthcare landscape, there is pressure on large pharma to continue to innovate. We think they can either do that internally or they can look through M&A and other means to acquire those sorts of innovative therapies that will benefit society.
You said that big pharma is trading at a significant discount because of some of this uncertainty. Could that reverse? Could they come back into fashion?
I think they could. When we look at some of the historical valuations, we've been through periods of underperformance like this before. It is quite significant to see the valuation at a 30 to 35% discount to the S&P 500. So with investing, the news doesn't have to shift from negative to positive. It just has to get less bad. And that's my expectation. Our preference as investors is to go down market cap into small and mid cap pharma and biotech. But for those large pharma names, incrementally, we think that the direction of travel is for better valuations ahead.
Is this the best place to put money in the healthcare space, though, or do you see better options?
I think the better option is to go down and lean into innovation. So we're seeing continued deal activity in small cap and mid cap biotech. I think that would be our first choice with putting new money to work. Medical devices tend to be, at least the smaller ones, tend to fly under the radar from a regulatory standpoint. So I think that's another attractive place for investors to look.
That was Nathan Moser of Impax Asset Management. Don't forget you can watch more videos on Reuters.com.